Hey sewing friends, Stacy here at the Hen Den. If you've ever visited me at the store or maybe at a quilt show, chances are that you might have seen me wearing these, my fancy pants. So this is a pair of wedge jeans that I created using all selvages that I have collected over the years. Yes, I'm one of those that's been collecting them and had no idea what I was going to do with them. And after making another pair of wedge jeans with an antique quilt, I just thought it would be a fun idea to incorporate selvages into a wedge. So if this sounds like something you want to try, and if you love all things sewing and you love tips and tricks on how to do things, then make sure to give a like and a subscribe below. As I release more of these tutorials, you'll get notified for those new tutorials. So are you ready to learn how to take that huge stack of selvages you have sitting around and turn them into a fun pair of jeans? Let's dive in. So before we can dive into starting to make our fancy pants, we first need to make a template for the wedge. The first thing I'm going to say to do is to try the pants on and determine how high up you want the wedge to come. Keep in mind, I'm doing a full wedge. You could also do something only like to the knee or something even smaller. So I chose to do a full length wedge. My final goal on my wedge was 28 inches from the floor to where the wedge stops. So with that, we need to add in some seam allowance. I do use a 1/2 inch seam allowance when I'm making these pants. So I added about 3 inches extra for the hem of the pant, as well as for the seam allowance for the top once we put it in. Now this is a little larger than I really need, but I would rather be longer, and I can always take a little bit of the wedge off the bottom. So what you're going to do is take whatever you're going to use to create your pattern on. You could tape a bunch of pieces of paper together. You could use patternies. There's all kinds of different things. You could just go ahead and do it on an old piece of muslin. So whatever you're going to do your template on, you are first going to draw a line with whatever your total length of your wedge template is going to be. So let's pretend this is our large template here, and what I first did was a 31-inch line going straight down, okay? Then from there, you need to determine how wide you want the base of the wedge to be. My goal was a 9-inch wide base to my wedge. I like them big. So adding in our 1/2 inch seam allowance for both sides, then I need the bottom of my template to be 10 inches. So then I just took that template and I found some sort of ruler that was clear so I could line up that center line to make sure things were neat and square. And then I drew a 5-inch line from the center out and from the center out. And then the next step is super easy. All we're going to do is take and connect the dots. So I'm going to connect one side of the wedge to here, and then I'm going to turn and do the other side. And now once I created a template, I have a template that I made on a piece of muslin, and it's just the same template that I use for every set of wedge pants that I do. So that is it, super simple. And then I just carbon copied this onto a piece of muslin, and every time I'm making a pair of wedge pants and I want them to be this size, I can use it again and again and again. So hopefully they made sense. Now let's talk about the pants that you're going to do this with. I highly recommend starting with a pair of pants that already has a decent flare to the base. Go to Goodwill. Huge advocate of hitting Goodwill, and start with something that already has, I'm going to say, a boot cut to it. You don't want to start with a skinny jean. You don't want to start with even a straight leg pant. You want something that already has a bit of a flare to the base, because that's already kind of setting you up for the natural formation of the wedge. So hit Goodwill, get a good boot cut jean. That's what you're going to start with. Now let's dive in. The first thing we need to do is go ahead and remove the stitching from the side of the pants. So I start by measuring from the bottom of the pant leg up to where I want my wedge to stop, and I go ahead and place a pin there. And then we're going to start removing the side seams of the pants. I do see a lot of people cutting these out. I would highly recommend actually removing the stitching instead, because I usually just go ahead and use the original stitch line as my seam allowance That's also going to give you a nice crease to the side of the pant, and then we don't have to do any top stitching. You do need to remove enough of the stitching at the hem of the pant to be able to have the wedge go all the way to the edge of the pant leg, and then go ahead and remove your side seams, and you will do this on both pant legs. Next step was to go ahead and cut out the foundation piecing that I am going to put all of my selvages on. I had this fabric that somebody gifted to me. It's actually from IKEA. I thought it was delightfully funky and wonky. So this is what ended up being the inside leg portion of the wedge of the pants. And I am cutting these two at a time with my right sides facing together. And yes, I did starch this fabric prior to cutting it, just to help give me a nice solid foundation that we're going to be attaching these selvages to. And I'm just using my regular scissors. You could take this over to your cutting table and use a rotary cutter as well. You can really use anything as the base of your wedge. It's going to be on the inside of the pant. You're never going to see it. So you could pick the ugliest fabric in your stash and use that, or something funky and whimsical that only you will know is there. And I'm going ahead and removing my pins, and then I will save my template for another pair of wedge pants later down the line. And now for the fun part. Now we get to start diving into our selvages. Um, the first thing I do is I go ahead and pull out the strips and somewhat sort them in size order. I don't necessarily look for my pant legs to match. I actually like that each one is a little different, but you're going to need longer strips to do the base of the wedge. And I will also highly recommend, if you know you're going to be doing this project eventually and you haven't necessarily started collecting selvages, I would highly recommend, we had some company in here. I love that the kids actually come and hang out with me in the sewing room. Aiden actually comes in quite a bit and hangs out with me and shows me fun videos. But cutting your selvages a little wider, leave a good ½ inch above the selvage if possible. The wider they are, the more space they take up, which makes this process go a little bit faster and honestly just makes it a little more fun because you can see a little bit of the fabric as well. So after I have everything sorted, I start trying to decide what portion of the selvage I want to actually show on the pant leg, and then go ahead and cut some of the excess off. And then from here, we just start building everything up. I knew I was going to be having at least a 1-inch seam allowance on the bottom there, so I went ahead and marked a 1-inch and started above that. Because I really didn't want to lose any of these really cool selvages I had for the bottom. So I started my selvages actually a little up from the base because, again, I know I'm going to be putting a hem around the bottom of the pant. Once I have a few selvages picked out, then I'm going to go ahead over to my machine and get started. Now for the first piece we add on, I am simply doing a line across the top of the selvage, and this is just to temporarily hold this one in place. And now the whole process is really simple. We line our next selvage up, making sure you overlap it enough to, when we stitch the edge down, you can see I'm showing you here, we're going to stitch the edge of the selvage, and we want to make sure that once we lift up the selvage that we just attached, that we have covered more than enough of the top of the selvage prior to it. So we are going ahead and encasing the raw edge of the first selvage strip by stitching the base of the second strip. So I'm going to show that to you again here in a second, and this will make a little bit more sense. But we are just going to keep adding strips on, covering the raw edge of the first one. You can see there, As long as you can see that raw edge of the first selvage, then you're good to go. Because remember, our selvages are not going to come unraveled. So as long as we cover the raw edge at the top with the next strip, then we'll never have any issues with anything coming apart. So it's very important each time you add a strip on to just double check and make sure you did cover. I'm going to say 1/8 of an inch is the very least you want showing. Really and truly, you want a little bit more showing. So see, that one's cutting it a little close. I actually gave the fabric a little tug just to make sure nothing would pull apart on that one. And this is it. We are just going to keep adding strips and adding strips. I'm not being overly particular about this. Double check and make sure. You can see there, here's another angle on it, a little bit of a better angle, just to make sure that we did indeed cover the previous strip. I would also recommend periodically turning the pant leg and going the opposite direction. Just like when we're doing a quilt, if we're constantly stitching in the same direction each time we add a piece on, then we're going to keep pushing the fabric in one direction. So keep turning the wedge every once in a while and stitch from the opposite side. Another quick tip is just to periodically take it over to your iron and give it a good press as well. This is just going to help ensure that everything's staying neat and flat, and it's just going to make construction so much easier. Once we have all of our strips attached, it's time to trim off all the excess fabric. I'm doing it the quick and easy way using a ruler and my rotary cutter, but you could also use a pair of scissors as well. I'm all about the easiest and fastest way to get this done. So I did use the rotary cutter. And then once we are done all of our trimming, it's time to go ahead and pin the wedge into our pants. There's our finished product. Now I start with putting the tip of the wedge up so that the seam allowances line up. So I have a 1/2 inch on either side, and then I put a pin right where the wedge starts. So I know exactly where I'm going to start sewing. And then I pin. I absolutely pin. Now, one thing you want to be very careful of as you are doing this is to not stretch anything. These pants that I was working with were an extremely stretchy denim. You don't want to be pulling on that denim to cause any stretching in it. And I am also putting my pins on the denim side because when I take this over to my sewing machine, I'm just telling you there, be careful not to stretch the denim. I stitched it down with the wedge portion being the bottom portion and the denim on top. And again, why am I doing this? Because again, the denim stretches. So I am using the wedge as a good firm foundation to go ahead and attach the wedge to the pant. And if you'll also notice, I am literally putting the pins right in on that crease, which is exactly where I'm going to be stitching. And again, remember, I do have my wedge pattern a little longer than I'm going to need. So you're going to see as I approach the bottom here, there is going to be excess portions to the wedge. And I'm just going to go ahead and cut those off with my rotary cutter. And now we can take it over to the machine, and I am starting, at the top of the wedge. And I'm going to do a little back tack. I'm using the walking foot there built into my machine. So I'm going to go forward. I'm going to do a little back sewing just to lock those stitches in and then continue moving forward. And again, the seam allowance I'm using is probably right around a 1/2 inch, but I'm honestly not really so much looking at the actual size as I am stitching right where the original stitch line was on the pant. Because again, there's already an amazing crease built in there, and that's just going to help things to keep from me having to do any kind of top stitching afterwards. Always stop to remove your pins. Do not stitch over those guys, because if you strike a needle or strike a pin with your needle, let me tell you, it's first of all going to severely dull your needle, or it's going to cause your needle to break if you strike it. And breaking the needle can cause all kinds of problems with your machines. Just not worth it. Stop and go ahead and remove all those pins. And then once we get to the bottom, again, you're going to do a little stitching in reverse. Sorry, the hand's in the way there, but I'm just doing a little back tack at the base. And now we're going to go ahead and do the opposite side. So again, I'm starting at the top of the wedge and pinning my way down. And again, you can see I am pinning on the side that is going to be the stitch side facing me. And again, I did not make any adjustments to my seam allowance. I think I was still not my seam allowance, my stitch length. I just did a 2.5 stitch length. I did switch to a denim needle though for this because we are stitching through some heavy layers here. I would highly recommend using a denim needle. It's just going to help that stitching process go a little bit easier for you. And I'm working my way down, making sure everything lines up nice and neat. And then I'm going to take it back to the machine, go ahead and stitch the other side of the pant leg here. And then once you are finished, if you have a serger or overlocker at your disposal, I would highly recommend going ahead and serging these edges. Again, this is just going to ensure the life of the pants and you're not going to get anything unraveling on the sides. If you do not have a serger, that's perfectly okay. Another good option is to run a zigzag stitch down there. And again, that's just going to kind of help to keep everything stay neat and tucked into place. I have a Juki MO2000. I love this serger. I don't do a whole lot of serging, but I just love the fact that it's very easy to use. It's an air thread machine. I will put a link actually, if I remember, in the description below to where you can find out more information about this machine, but I've had a rough history with sergers. I swore I'd never get another one, but this one's just so easy to use, and I'm so glad I finally picked one up. And then guess what? The final step is to just put our hem back in place. So I had to completely cut the bottom of these pants off and make them shorter. They were about 5 inches too long. So I had to do a hem all the way around the base of the pant. But if you started with a pair of pants that was already a good length on you, all you're going to be doing is restitching the little bit of the hem on either side of your wedge and then stitching the hem across the base of the wedge. I did have some very thick portions of the pants here, so I went ahead and used the hump jumper to get over those thick portions. But otherwise, I love that my machine just stitched these out like a breeze. So once we have gone ahead and done the hem on both of our pant legs, you're done. Your fancy pants are done. I hope you've enjoyed today's tutorial. If you have ever made wedge pants either recently or in the past, I would love to hear your stories below in the comments of wedge pants that you have maybe made, or if you're thinking about giving these guys a try, I would love to see how your pants turn out. And make sure to give a like and subscribe so you can know about other tutorials that I'm doing here in the future. So stay tuned, more fun upcycles to come. We still have more selvages left. Now what?